Good morning. Morning, my next husband. Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Northern Nevada, where it is our mission to grow together in love, faith, justice, and joy. We here at UUFNN believe that by being and working together, we can bring about justice and build a compassionate community. We welcome all to be a part of us, regardless of racial identity, ethnic background, age, economic circumstances, educational achievement, judicial history, immigration status, mental health status, sexual orientation, or gender identity. UUFNN is about compassion and support, not judgment. I'm JJ Lee, and I serve as your worship associate this morning. We at UUFNN love having new people. And if that's you, feel free to contact the office or go to our website for more information. You can also click on the link in the chat box if you're a Zoomer to fill out the newcomer form and sign up for our newsletter that will keep you informed of all the activities here at UUFNN. Also, for those meeting with us on Zoom, please update your name on screen. That'll help everyone know who you are. And feel free to use the chat box for comments, especially during prayer and meditation. Folks on Zoom are invited at the end of our service into small groups for coffee hour, where we break into small groups to visit virtually, face to face. Wherever you're worshiping from today, thank you for being with us this morning. Welcome.
How's everybody doing? Karen, what are you doing?
The church camp out.
At Davis Creek Campground?
Davis Creek, yeah. Are you ready? You're going, yeah?
I am going.
Yeah.
You seem very
excited.
You seem very prepared.
I'm so prepared. I got my bedroll. I got my cooler. I'm ready. Let's go.
It's in 2 weeks. The
2 weeks.
2 weeks. It's September 30th.
It's today. It's today.
It starts.
Today. Let's go. I'm ready to go. Let's go.
It starts on a Friday. Today's a Sunday, and it starts September 30th through October 2nd.
Oh.
But
I got to wait 2 weeks.
You have to wait 2 weeks. And I know, but what we get in those 2 weeks is chance for everybody to learn more about it. And hopefully more folks will be coming.
Oh.
So we...
Nathan, I got my flashlight.
And that is a really cool flashlight. And it's going to be really helpful.
Nathan, I got my backpack.
That backpack is almost as big as you. And you see, I'm so excited. You're so excited. It's going to be an...
Wait.
I know.
2 weeks.
I know, but we're going to practice patience. And we're going to tell all of our friends about the exciting camping trip in 2 weeks. And it's going to fly by.
Did you say Friday, September 30th?
I did.
That's not 2 weeks. That's a week from Friday.
You are correct. It is a week from Friday. And I also want to invite everybody on Saturday. If you can't come for the weekend, we invite you for the day where we're going to come together for a potluck, to gather as community, eat whatever delicious food is inside Karen's cooler. And it's going to be a lot of fun.
So folks can come for the whole weekend or any time at all, as much as or as little as possible.
Exactly.
Whoa.
And on Sunday, Karen is going to be here. You're going to be here leading worship, and I'll be leading an outdoor worship at the campground on that Sunday. So if you come for the whole weekend, you can spend worship with me. If you come for Saturday, you get to celebrate worship here. It's going to be amazing.
1 week from Friday, you promise.
1 week from Friday. And if you're interested in coming, you can email me for more information and for an RSVP. And I can't wait for everyone to join us.
I'm ready.
All
I'm
right.
ready. I'm ready.
All right. We'll
I'm
see
ready.
you all there.
And in that spirit, we are returning to our time of greeting each other as an important and connecting part of worship. You have many choices, of course, in how you will engage in this old experience anew. You can elbow bump, bow, wave, high five, whatever you feel comfortable with. Folks on Zoom, you can wave, gesture in the online window politely, make a sign to hold up. Again, whatever fits your way of greeting. So, gentle ladies and women, start your engines. Let the greeting begin. Thank you for being with us this morning. And our service will continue. And so we gather today for perhaps a little bit of joy and levity, for connection, for the mystery that is connection in community. It has been said that we are hardwired for connection, for human connection. And so we gather fully present to that possibility and to that eventuality. You do not need a permission slip in this place to bring your whole self. Nothing needs to be left at the door. However you are and wherever you are on your journey, all the parts of you are welcome in this safe place. And so we come fully present to this time and place together this morning. Billy Lee will light our chalice for us this morning.
And every now and then it is important for us to review the congregational covenant that we passed as a congregation in May at our congregational meeting to remind us who we are and to remind us of how it is that we want to aspire to be together. And so Nathan and I will go through the covenant with you as our chalice lighting words. Hold that thought. Your congregational response for the covenant is this: we create this beloved community together. We create this beloved community together. We aspire to build a democratic community that is based on trust, transparency, and open communication.
We create this beloved community together. We aspire to be present in the moment and listen to each other with honesty and compassion. We create this beloved community together.
We aspire to be good examples to our children in their lifelong journey of discovery and meaning.
We create this beloved community together. We aspire to respect individual lifestyles in an accepting atmosphere of love. We create this beloved community together.
We aspire to stand against racism and nurture a culture at UUFNN that is welcoming and safe for everyone.
We create this beloved community together. We aspire to be mindful of our own biases and show consideration for others in our words and actions.
We create this beloved community together. We aspire to affirm and practice the UU principles in our daily lives. We create this beloved community together.
We aspire to stay informed about our fellowship and be reliable stewards to ensure that we continue to grow in love, faith, justice, and joy.
We create this beloved community together. We aspire to honor all expressions of spirituality.
We create this beloved community together. We aspire to create and nourish a balance between spirituality and social justice.
We create this beloved community together. Blessed be.
Hold it, I forgot. You might notice that we're missing a few pieces of our choir. That means that we have to get you to replace them. So we're going to learn this song. Some of you have done it before, some of you may not have. All of those who have what you would consider a low voice, you will find your lyrics on the left-hand side. Those of you who consider high-voiced, you'll find your lyrics on the right-hand side. Let's go through those parts right now. Can we do the lower voice? One. Why don't you give us the intro? Picks up. Now let us sing, 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 sing. Now let us sing, 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 sing. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Now let her sing to the power of the faith within. Got it? Good. High voices. Intro.
Intro, okay.
Now there's only one thing missing. You should be standing up. So as you're willing and able, if you could stand up, please. No voices, you start. Now let us sing to the power of God's faith within. Now let us sing to the power of God's faith within. Your voice, be not afraid. Let us sing to the power of God's faith within. Now let us sing to the power of God's faith within. Now let us sing, sing, lift up your voice, be not afraid. Now let us sing to the power of our hope within. Now let us sing, sing, now let us sing, lift up your voice, be not afraid. Now let us sing to the power of our hope within. Now let us sing. Now let us sing, lift up your voice, be not afraid. Now let us sing to the power of the joy within. Now give yourselves a hand. Woo-hoo! You guys are great, thank you.
This is the time in our service when we have the opportunity to share our bounty with each other. It is through your generosity and dedication that we here at UUFNN are self-sufficient. By each of us stepping forward and offering what we can, we provide a support for all that we do for each other and the wider community. Please share what bounty you can today by texting 73256. That's 73256. Type UUFNN in the message box and hit send. You can also mail a check to the office at 780 Del Monte Lane, Reno 89511. Or if you want to simplify the process, you can sign up for automatic giving. Contact Carol at the office for the authorization form. We share the plate this September to benefit the Hug High School Scholarship Fund. The goal of the Hug High Scholarship Committee is to provide financial assistance in the form of post-secondary scholarships to outstanding Hug graduating seniors. Many of the scholarship recipients are the first generation of their family to graduate high school and continue to college. Students who receive scholarship awards may use them at post-secondary options, including community and junior colleges, public and private universities, and or vocational and trade schools. These scholarship dollars are awarded to what is largely considered a very underrepresented subsection of society within higher education. HUG has a direct role in increasing the numbers of minority students attending higher education. HUG High is defined as a U.S. Title I school. To qualify, at least 40% of students must be from low-income families. At HUG, the number is above 80%. Thank you for your generosity in contributing to this fund, which is life-changing for students who will benefit from receiving a scholarship. Now, let the offering begin. Please join me as we bless these our offerings. To the work of this fellowship, which is helping more people grow in love, faith, justice, and joy, we dedicate ourselves and these our offerings.
Hello, Unitarian Universalists. I'm the Reverend Susan Frederick Gray, President of your Unitarian Universalist Association. It is so good to be with you for another season of Ingathering. This time marks the end of summer, when we come together to renew our commitments to each other, to our Unitarian Universalist communities, and to begin another vital year of ministry. In the summer months, I hope that you and your loved ones found some time to rejuvenate your bodies and spirits, to rest, to enjoy the long summer days, to pursue hobbies that bring you joy. I know that the world is all too much, and it matters that we take time to rest. For rest is necessary for the quality of our lives, of our ministries, and of our spirits. We are all living in what I have come to call a liminal time, a time in between. Pandemic has upended so much. After 2 years plus of virtual and hybrid gatherings in our congregations, the ways in which people connect to religious community has broadened, and new patterns are still emerging. On so many levels, what comes next is still unfolding and being imagined. As Unitarian Universalists, we are called to care for each other and to create resilient, theologically imaginative spiritual community that sustains us and inspires us as we navigate what's to come and what is needed. And there is so much needed. From supporting access to reproductive care to showing up through UU the Vote to elect leaders that will work to protect our children, our planet, our future, and our deeply held values. It also matters that we attend to doing the fundamentals of religious community, like supporting children and families recovering from, and in some cases still experiencing, the collective trauma of the last few years. Our world needs our message of love and justice. Our world needs brave, bold, and loving communities that are in the struggle for equity, dignity, and compassion. One way to join with your sibling Unitarian Universalists in this work is through UU the Vote. You can find out more at uuthevote.org. Your Unitarian Universalist Association is the embodiment of the covenant that all of our congregations make to each other to support each other. And the UUA is here because of your commitment to make and support and amplify our values, to support each of our congregations in their time of need, and to be more than any of us are alone. At the UUA, we are committed to being steadfast partners with you in this liminal time and in all that is ahead. As you gather in this sacred hour and join again in community, may we each remember the hundreds and thousands of Unitarian Universalists that are gathering all across our association, celebrating and calling themselves back into the power and the possibility of faithful community. For we are not alone, and we make each other strong. I send you my love and my blessings as we enter this new congregation year and celebrate Ingathering. Much love and deep care to all of you.
We had hoped today to have a special tribute to and remembrance of Richard Svanoe. And we're not able to do that today due to several health issues in the choir at one time. And so we're going to postpone that and do that on a future Sunday in a way that we can do it that is fitting of Richard and in the way that the choir wanted to do it justice. So we'll do that on a future Sunday, hopefully in a couple of weeks. I wanted you to hear this message from Susan Frederick Gray and just hear her perspective about the importance of us as UU congregation and all of the UU congregations in terms of what we bring to the world, who we are, and what we do, because I think it kind of sets the tone for beginning a new church year together. And it's important for us to stay in touch with the UUA and hear from our leaders. So I wanted you to hear that word from her this morning. I'm going to ask you as we begin these few moments, if you would take a deep breath with me. And if you feel so inclined, let it out with a big sigh. Once more. I've had reason to ponder over the summer what we mean when we talk about home, what we mean when we think of what is our sense of home. And what I've come to over those weeks is that it probably is very related to and comes down to our sense of connection to place, to people, and perhaps our own inner sense of groundedness and centeredness. I've shared with many of you and with the congregation a few weeks ago, I think most of you know that I lost my dad over the summer in July, and a few weeks before that, somehow inexplicably, due to a cognitive event or something, we're still not sure, but my mom lost her sense of home. And she began to call me and ask, what are we doing here? And when are you coming to take us home? Even though she was in the place where they had lived for 11 years. And so I went back there in June, and over the ensuing weeks, spent time trying to comfort her and help her reconnect to a sense of home by connecting her with important people in her life and with memories. And I've watched that take hold sometimes, and other times not so much, but really wanting to provide her with a greater sense of safety and that sense of home that she's lost. It's pretty much the same situation for her now that she's in assisted living, and she wonders when she's going home, wherever that was or is, and where she's going to be staying. And there's a way in which she's lost the grasp to a sense of home and connection. And it has also caused me to ponder how it is that that has happened with our community and with our world in this aftermath of COVID. How during COVID, many of us lost some of our sense of connections. We lost some of our connections with friends, with our church community, with a sense of being together in person. And then on top of that, the state of our world just seemed to be on tilt, and we've just continued to wait for the other shoe to drop as many other things kept happening. And I wonder during that time how many of us are still somehow trying to reconnect with a sense of home, with a sense of connection, with new ways of being. And I wonder how it is that we live like that, with always sort of waiting for the next shoe to drop, with what's the next piece of bad news we're going to get? What's the next thing that's going to happen? And so I wonder how it is that we keep going, that we deal with that and live with that after the last few years. And so I have come to feel that there is a very close connection between our sense of home, both a sense of place and an internal connection to being at home within ourselves, and connections in general, connections with people, connections to a sense of place. And so what I have come to is that in the same way that I try to comfort my mom and connect her to things that may feel familiar and give her a sense of home and connection, I think that what we can do is shore up our foundations to connection. We can firm up our foundation. We can sort of put the bumpers up and give ourselves a greater sense of safety. And so that's what we're going to be about this fall. Our theme for the fall is nurturing our connections, and I want to talk a little bit more about that. But in terms of brain science around this whole dementia thing that many of us have dealt with and are dealing with, it's kind of amazing how our brains try to adapt. I'm always fascinated by brain science and articles. And in the world that we live in today, talking about waiting for the other shoe to drop, it's sometimes fascinating and positive and a little scary, and I'm not sure it's always good, the way that our brains are able to adapt to what is. For a few days last week, Sue and I escaped the smoke to the coast in our RV and worked remotely. And for a couple of days, we were staying in a friend's driveway, and our RV was sitting from one side to the other about 7 inches off. And so Sue and our good friend were working in separate spaces in their home during the day, and I was working in the RV sitting at a table. And I got up and I looked out the back window and I thought, their garage can't possibly be that off from being level. And I had to walk all the way to the back window and look down at where the garage met the ground to readjust myself to the fact that I was the one that was tilted, not the garage. My brain had so adapted to being in that space that I somehow became rebalanced, even as I was unbalanced. And I had to reconvince myself that it was me and not their garage that was on tilt. And so this fall, we're going to nurture our connections. That's our theme, nurturing our connections. We're going to find our bearings. We're going to shore up and solidify our foundation. We're going to see if we can enlarge and deepen our sense of safety. And a lot of thought has gone into the timing of this. Nathan and I and conversations with you, and many of you have expressed that you are ready for some spiritual deepening, and we have heard you. You're ready for some growth. And I have this philosophy always, anyway, where our work and our faith needs to have two components. One is spiritual deepening and spiritual nurture, and the other is doing our activism in the world. And it has to be cyclical. One has to feed the other all the time. If we're only in spiritual nurture all the time, our spirituality is going to become too insular and implode. If we're only doing activism all the time, we're going to burn out and become exhausted. So it has to be this cyclical spiral, back and forth, balanced effort of spiritual nurture and activism. And so the fall is about taking the time to do that, to reestablish and broaden and deepen our connections in several areas. Nathan has this beautiful philosophy of education that I want you to ask them about, where, I hope I get this right, where what we do in our nurture is we establish a sense of safety and belonging. And then in that space, we can go on and push in beyond our comfort zone after we establish comfort to grow and challenge ourselves and make some of the changes that we need to make. So you can ask Nathan to expound on that. If it were a metaphor, maybe it would be, we're going to eat first and then do the work. Spiritual leader of millennia ago, Jesus of Nazareth, always fed the people first and then went on to do the work. So we're going to be a little bit about that this fall, and we're going to be looking at connections principally in three areas. They're like three prongs of the same fork, or three paths of the same journey, not really separate, overlapping, but we think of them as three areas: connection to self, connection to spirit, and connection to community. And all wound up in that, as Susan Frederick Gray talked about, all wound up in all of those is our connection to Unitarian Universalism. Our connection to community. We are hardwired for human connection. It's where we're seen, it's where we're accepted, it's where we can do things together that we could never do by ourselves. And so we're going to be about this fall, the building up of our community and increasing our connections to community. There's such value to community in challenging times. Another area is our connection to self, and we'll do that through mindfulness and stillness and grounding and centering and emphasizing a connection to self through self-care. I have had to go on a different journey regarding that recently after everything that happened this summer, and I've been in a place of grief and different level of energy. I have had to have more rest, more balance. I've really had to pay attention to that. And I would hope that we can do that for ourselves before we're left with no other choice. And I have had to allow myself to receive gifts of presence and love from friends. And I've had to allow myself to receive the gifts of presence and love from you in this community. And sometimes what I see in our community is that when somebody has been here for a while and they have served in a variety of capacities, and then they find themselves in a challenging place, sometimes you have a hard time receiving from this community. And I have to remind you, this is a cycle. This is a cycle. There are times when we need more from community and times when we need less, and times we're able to give more, and times when it's our time to receive. And so I have to remind you of that from time to time. We have to allow ourselves to complete that circle. We have to allow ourselves to have some space between the logs. Some years ago, Sue and I were attending a bar mitzvah and we were reading the liturgy, and that phrase literally leapt off of the page at both of us. So meaningful and visual was it. And we looked at each other and said, yes, space between the logs. And that has become part of our family vernacular. We remind ourselves of that burning logs have to have oxygen. There has to be air and space. It's important to understand the value of these connections, especially in hard times. We don't often take the time for connection to self, and that can look many different ways and bring up many different things, and yet so important to our growth and to our well-being. And the third area is connection to spirit. Connecting to that which is larger than ourselves. And this brings us to the crux of why I am a UU. Because what that means, connection to that which is larger than ourselves, means something different for every one of us on Zoom and every one of us here in this room. For some, it's about a traditional view of God. For some, it's about source or love, as Stan talked to us about last week. For some, it's about an energy that lives in the universe. For some, it's about simply us, the people, the group consciousness, the community. For some, it's about purpose. Whatever that larger than ourselves image is that we hold, that gives us meaning, we can connect to that and grow and increase and nurture that connection in a way that feeds us, in a way that helps us toward self-acceptance and toward enlarging our overall well-being and connection. And so, as I said before, these three areas are not clearly delineated. When we have an event, you might not say, oh, that belongs to that one, or that belongs to that one, because they're going to be overlapping. They're not clear cut. They're just ways of looking at opportunities for connection. Another reason why it's important that we take this breath at this particular time is that in the next few weeks, we want to be doing some election work through You, the Vote, as Susan Frederick Gray talked about, and that information is always in our emails. Individually and as a community, you can connect to You, the Voter. Many of us are doing election work through the ways that we do that, and that is great. We want to be about that for the next 7 weeks or so, as much as we can, to bring about the results that align with our values, which is to say that you vote for the candidates of your choosing, as we all do. The camping trip / church retreat will be a big opportunity for connection. And we already expounded on that earlier, but I will just say that if you can just come for a few hours or for the potluck that is Saturday evening and just hang out and build connection, play some games, renew old friendships, make new ones, that's going to be a great opportunity for connection. It's only 15 minutes out of Reno, and I hope that you will take advantage of that opportunity. When we take intentional time for connection, we deepen, we expand, we become more centered and grounded, we grow stronger. Perhaps we're even more accepting of ourselves and possibly each other. And so the invitation is ours to enter into this space this fall and do some intentional growth of our connections with self, with spirit, with Unitarian Universalism, with community. And I hope that we will all step as fully as we can into that invitation. Blessed be, and amen.
As I prepared for our prayer and meditation this morning, I connected with a few of my colleagues and friends who are rabbis and practitioners in the Jewish tradition, and they are in preparation for Rosh Hashanah and the High Holy Days. And in our conversation, they brought me back to a blessing and an embodied meditation that I want to invite you all into this morning. This was designed by Dory Midnight and Randy Farash Stewart. They created a queer translation of, and please pardon my Hebrew, Barak Hashashar, or the blessings of the dawn. They created a queer translation of this prayer, and with the intention that it is accessible for all people. They designed it for Jewish and non-Jewish folks, for queer folks and non-queer folks, with the hope that it brings us back into connection with ourselves, with our communities, and with that which is larger than us all. As you go through this meditation, you will hear many names of the divine. Each name is an interpretation of attributes of the divine from the Jewish tradition. And so as I lead us all in this embodied meditation, I invite you to follow the motions and welcome the words that connect with you this morning. I invite you to caress and rub your eyes. Bring them as if you're just waking up from the day. For blessed are you, awakener, life of all worlds, who removes sleep from my eyes and slumber from my eyelids. I invite you to feel your feet on the ground, and I invite you to feel your seat, your body in your chair. Blessed are you, sacred flame, who illuminates and shines upon everyone and everything. I want to invite you to bring your arms close to your body as tight as possible. Allow your muscles to tense. And when it feels too tight, I want to invite you to release and expand. Maybe move your arms up. Maybe move your arms out forward. For blessed are you, liberation worker, who moves us to stretch and expand towards freedom. I invite you to bring your hands to your heart. Feel your heartbeat. Feel the rise and fall of your breath. Blessed are you, nameless and infinite, who made us in your image and reminds us that all bodies are sacred and holy. I invite you to take a breath that fills your whole body with air. Hold it for a moment and let it out. Blessed are you, holy breath, who fills me with this gift every day. I invite you to extend your palms outward in front of you. Blessed are you, abundance, who helps me remember I have everything I need. I want to invite you to let your body move the way it wants to move in this moment. Maybe you need to sway. Maybe you need to roll your shoulders. Maybe you need to stomp your feet. Blessed are you, the way, who meets me where I am. For those with your eyes closed, I invite you to keep them closed. For those who prefer their eyes open, I invite you to a softened gaze. I invite you to rest. Blessed are you, source of life, who I draw on for strength, and who reminds me that rest is a sacred act. I invite you to place a hand on a part of your body that needs a little extra love. A part of your body that might be sore or tender or holding some feelings that are hard to explain. Blessed are you, weaver of being, who shaped the human being with wisdom, making for us all openings and vessels of our body. It is known that we are miracles and all bodies are miracles. And as we come to the close, I invite you to take another breath. For blessed are you, you of many names, for revealing infinite paths of healing. And as we sit in this sacred silence, for those on Zoom, I invite you to share intentions in the chat that we may hold your prayers in the silence of this divine love. Amen. Namaste, and blessed be.
I'd like to thank you for being here with us today on Zoom and in person. I will remind you to watch your emails for the many coming events that you might be interested in. And I also just want to bring attention to Reno Posse. I have a message from them. They're thanking you for helping them to feed at least 125 hungry neighbors weekly. They told me to tell you they couldn't do it without you. As usual, Reno Posse needs individually packed juice and snack bars. These fill out the meals and add important calories for the guests. If you have donations, you can drop them off in the bins here at UUFNN between our two buildings, Wednesdays by 12:30, or at the Reno Buddhist Center on Wednesdays between 1:30 and 3. You can also mail Posse, that's P-O-S-S-E, Posse at UUFNN.org for a home pickup. Reno Posse always welcomes new volunteers. Currently, they're looking for 3, a cook, a baker, and a laundry wizard, which sounds like a joke, but isn't. You know, come into a bar, I don't know. Cooks and bakers are provided a recipe and groceries and work at home. A laundry wizard can wash the kitchen towels once or twice a month. For questions or volunteer interest, again, send an email to posse at UUFNN. Thanks for your help. And Reverend Karen has an announcement as well.
In our Board of Trustees' desire to be transparent and fully open about everything that they are thinking and doing, the board is hosting a Talk to the Board event. Very briefly, immediately following the service, Jackie Riley would be hosting that event in person. Adrian Fisher will be hosting the group on Zoom. If you're on Zoom and you would like to attend that breakout group, please put a note in the chat so that you can be put into the correct group for that conversation. You can ask the board or share comments about anything that you want to, but especially today, we welcome conversation about the rental opportunity that we are exploring with St. Catherine's Episcopal Church. We are in conversation, and so we welcome your questions and comments about that to the board as we explore this potential opportunity. In our quest for connection and a sense of home, I think what we are really looking for is peace. Let's join together in our closing song.
Shalom, shalom, peace, shalom, shalom, peace, shalom, shalom, peace, shalom. Now we don't have much choir, so you gotta sing loud. Shalom, shalom. What? Peace, shalom, shalom, peace, shalom, shalom, peace, shalom, shalom. 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 Hey! Peace, shalom, shalom. Peace, shalom, shalom. Peace, shalom, shalom. Peace, shalom, shalom. One more time. Peace, shalom, shalom. Peace, shalom, shalom. Peace, shalom, shalom. Peace, shalom, shalom.
Last announcement, I promise. Sue has 4 tickets to the 1 o'clock baseball game today that we were given, very good seats. First come, first serve. If anybody that's interested in that for today, run to Sue and claim as many or all of those tickets as anyone is able to use. We're told the one for today is here. So I know they've moved games the rest of the weekend. As far as the information we've been able to get, we think the 1 o'clock game is still in Reno. If that's different, we're unaware of it. So if anybody can use those, please see Sue right there. And it looks like we have a taker, which is wonderful. Beloved, would you receive the blessing? May you experience a greater sense of home and connection within and without in the ways that you need to know that you are loved and that you are amazing beyond measure. Blessed be, amen, and namaste.